Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into this week's edition of Bull Ring Breakdown, race recap for what's that, August 9th. Um, that's sponsored by ROB Trucking and Coal Trucking and Gravel. I do want to remind everybody before we get underway here to please like and subscribe on the YouTube page, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Rate 5 stars. If you listen to the audio version, download it. We are at Woodhall 64 on TikTok and Woodhall Raceway on Facebook. That's where you can pretty much find all the good stuff. So with the race recap, once again, I have the pleasure to introduce Terry Pierce. Terry, how we doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Joe?
Oh, not too bad. It was hot, so
It is very warm out there today,
par for the course in August, I guess.
right? Yep,
It either dumps a bucket of rain or it's miserably hot. So
that's right. Yep.
guess I'd
Thank,
rather have it be hot.
that's right. Thank goodness we haven't had the rain.
That's right. Um, so yeah, once again, I do want to mention RLB Trucking and Coal Trucking and Gravel. They were the night's presenting sponsor. Um, I don't really know if I had. Usually, I have something to say before the races start. I don't know if I got anything this time. I
Yeah.
think I might. I think I might be out of things to say at the beginning of the night.
All right. There you go.
So I guess that's a good thing, though.
That's right. Absolutely.
So I guess we can move. Unless you got something, I'm gonna go right into the heat races.
I really don't. No, it was a pretty good night. I mean, the weather was beautiful and racing was great.
Absolutely. So hometown excavation crate sportsman, they kicked off the evening. Uh, Kenny Peoples Jr. once again won a heat race. Kind of the man to beat there for um for the season, kind of what for the past 2 seasons. So really no surprise there from anybody. We also had joining us the CRSA Sprints, 305 Sprints, Mike Emhoff at the helm, Marty Sakala doing all the microphone work and the PR for them. And that's great tune-up. We'll touch on this a little bit later for the September show, but the good tune-up for that race. So 3 heats for them. They were won by Dalton Herrick, Billy Van den Wijen, and Jordan Hutton. You know, they Jordan Hutton won the night before at Outlaw. Uh, I don't know too much about these guys. I guess Marty kind of does his own thing and he follows them, so I don't really have too much information on them really. But
Right.
good heat races. I think they're pretty much all clean and green, and what more could you want?
Yeah, I think Jordan Hunt, and I think a little bit from what I do know is Jordan Hunt was struggling at the beginning of the year, but it looks like he's finally starting to get it figured out back to back. Or I mean, he won Friday night and he looked good on Saturday too. I mean,
Absolutely,
good to see him.
absolutely. Well, then we had the Southern Tier Custom Rush Crate Late Models. That was won by Steve LeBaron. Really? My dogs sit here quiet every time, all day. Now they're
Yep.
fighting.
Uh-oh.
Really? Lay down. Lay down. But anyway, Southern Tier Customs Rush Crate Late Models, that was won by Steve LeBaron. Steve LeBaron, he's between him and Brett Marlatt, I think they've won just about every race this season. So uh I guess good for him.
Yep.
uh
Oh,
Jo-
absolutely. Yep.
Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks. They were won by Mike Spencer and Dan Gardner. Dan Gardner is a guy who needed a good run. Um, 2 weeks of miserable luck. And then this week it turned around, started off in the heat race. So, uh, good run for Dan. And then we went to the Lad Road Auto Hobby Stocks. That's Scott Brown and Brandon Conklin. Really no surprise there. Well, I keep saying this
No,
every week. One of these weeks, Scott Brown's going to find a victory lane for the feature too. So
he is. That
it's
car's been
coming.
so fast. Yep. Yep. He has been consistent with it.
That's for sure. And then the Wicked Tees Quad C, and again, no shocker here. Blake Snyder, Wesley Hotel, and picking up the feature win there, or the heat wins there. For the past 2 years or 4 years, Wesley Hoteling's been the man to beat. Then this year it's been Blake Snyder. So no surprise to see them two picking up the heat race wins.
Right.
Well, then I'm trying to remember. Then we did a dash, the Elab Smokers Boutique for the CRSA sprint cars. I don't know exactly what it is. It's a 4 lap dash, and I think it sets
Yep.
between 9 and 14 for the feature. So the
Hmm.
guys just out of the redraw spot, they get that sets their lineup. That was
Yep.
won by Nathan Pierce.
That's right. Yep.
So,
Nathan Pierce, he's a great guy. He's from right down the road too. He's from Troy, Pennsylvania.
yep.
Um, I actually have done quite a little bit of work on his car in the last year too. So
Did you?
he's a great guy. Yep. They work right here in Painted Post. They work at Siemens, him and his father. His father does the wrenching on the car. And yeah, they're a good team.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, if you were at the Arnott Mall car show, he had his car there being
Yep.
showed off too. So you got to see that a little up close and personal if you went to the mall show.
Yep. Absolutely did. Yep. Yep.
And don't ask me, Terry, how I remember that just right now off the top of my head. I have no idea. I didn't do any research on that. I just remembered it.
Yeah, they're actually, they're kind of a low budget team. They do own two cars, but they are kind of a low budget team. But you know what? He loves Woodhall, and he usually the last couple of years, 3, 4 years, he's ran really well at Woodhall when he's come. So no surprise to see him in victory lane.
Sure. Well, then I guess, well, we had the Warriors. Um, this was another good race. Bella Morseman started, I think she started on the pole. Yep, I'm correct. She
Yeah, she
started on
did.
the pole, led all 10 laps, did a great job. Cade Thomas tried just about everything he could. Um, couldn't find a way by her. I think he caught up to her a couple times, a couple yellow flags flew, but he really had nothing for her. And these it's kind of seeming like in that class too, it's whichever one of them two get out front,
Right,
you
it
know?
is. Yep,
So
that it is.
good for Bella. Bella picked up, I believe it's her fifth win of the season. Yep, that's correct. 5 wins on the season for Bella Morseman. And then we had intermission, I think, right? I'm not missing nothing, am I?
Nope, that was
No.
intermission.
All right, then we had intermission. That was pretty standard intermission. I don't think much happened there. Dale Hoteling, he was our driver of the week. Southern Tier Customs driver of the week, might I add. Um, and did you watch any of the junior fan this week?
No, I did not. So I was actually pit steward this week. So I was up in the pits for the whole night. And let me tell you, we don't say enough good stuff about Joe up there in the pit shack. But let me tell you what, that's not a fun job. At least it wasn't for me. Joe Zangy, I know he loves the job, and boy, do I appreciate what he does up there because I had to fill in for him, and boy, it wasn't a lot of fun for me. I missed a lot of racing by being up there.
So our junior fan of the week, it was Cora Birdsell.
Oh yes, I did see
And,
that.
and,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you what, if anybody knows her, it was a complete shock to me when I turned on the microphone and she hardly said a word.
Oh geez, I guess.
I was
Yeah.
expecting her to be like her dad, and then the bright light shined, and she got a little nervous. So
She normally is a talker. I've known Cora for a long time, and yeah, she normally is a pretty good talker. So that is kind of a shock.
it was funny though. I picked on her a little bit, but
She
so
probably
nice.
talked his ear off the whole way home, though. I bet.
Yeah, I'm sure she did actually, but you know, yeah. So that was intermission. I think that was pretty much. We didn't have a hard luck award, did we, this week? I don't
We did not.
think.
No, no. Being it
Uh,
was such a busy week for us, with the Wednesday night show, it kind of threw us off all the way around this week, I think.
yeah, that's a tough go.
Yep.
That's tough to get all that. It 3 weeks or 3 shows in 7 days is tough to do.
It is. Yep, it is. And when we say it was tough, can you imagine being the racers,
No,
having to turn their
I felt
cars
really
around?
bad for some of our great sportsman guys.
Yeah, right.
We had the idea to let the modifieds get the day off, and they got the week off, and then our great sportsman guys really had to suffer through it. I know there's a few of them that were really struggling. That's a tough
Yep,
go of it.
right, for sure.
Well, so then we can get into the features. We started off with the hometown excavation crate sportsman. Um, that was it was a great race.
It
Great
was.
race there between Tim Guild and Kenny Peoples. Sorry, my
It
dog's.
definitely
I had to get one dog out of the room because apparently like the whole time.
no, it definitely was a good feature. And it's funny because those two had some problems the week before. or when was it Wednesday night? Wednesday night.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, they ran side by side, lap after lap, and they put on a heck of a show out there in this feature. And I don't think they ever touched not one time. I mean, it was solid side by side, good racing.
Right. And if you know if they touched it wasn't enough where either one of them are gonna get mad about it, you know. It
Right.
was
Yep.
if they did touch it was just a little bit of rub rail, you know, nothing too.
Yep.
So and
Sure.
that you know what that was really good to see after Wednesday night because I know we had a lot of ticked off people from both camps and on Wednesday night. So
We did. Yep. Yep.
and you know what though those are two veterans. Those are two guys that have been around for a long time and you know I,
Absolutely. And
they
I'm sure
can
they both came in with a, on Saturday night that it was a new night and they were over it and they were ready to move forward, and they did. And then, like I said, they put on a heck of a show for the fans. You know, kudos to both them too. Awesome job by both of them.
absolutely. So yeah, Kenny Peoples Jr. he picks up the win. Tim Guild finished second, Quentin Buchanan third, fourth was Braden Buchanan, and your top five was Glenn Trowbridge. For Kenny Peoples, that's his sixth win on the season. Is once again, you know, Kenny just proven to be the class and a great sportsman at Woodhall. I don't know. There's not too much I can say for him over the past 2 years. He's just been pretty dominant. And this year, you know, he even brought out a new car, and that seems to go just as fast as the old one. So,
Yep, does.
um, well, I guess unless you got anything else on the
Nope.
sportsman, we can go on to the 305 sprints.
Yep.
Um, You know, they were running clean and green. That was a great race coming up. You had a really the top of the point standings coming into the night. They were all battling. It was a great race. They were getting into lap traffic and then caution lights on lap 16. Alicia Bay goes up and over. That brings out the red flag. She was okay. Then once we got back going, Zach Sabatka finally took over the top spot on uh well after that on the restart. And then the red flag came out once again on lap 18 as Kirsten Dombrowski. This one I thought this was a pretty tough rollover too. This
Hmm.
one looked a little bit more vicious. I didn't quite catch all of Alicia Bay's, but
Right.
Kirsten Dombrowski that was a pretty vicious rollover. Um,
It was definitely a tough night for our female competitors in the sprint cars on Saturday night.
yes,
That's
it
for
was.
sure.
Absolutely. So then a couple more cautions, you know, but then everything kind of stayed green. Um, Nobody had much for Zach Sabaka once he kind of got out front. You know, I think Billy Van and Widgen said in his interview, you know, he said, I kind of wish that I could have got up to second quicker and had some more green flag laps to work with. He
Yeah.
thought his car was a little bit better on the long run, so you know, he knows more than I do, so who am I to tell him he's wrong?
Yeah, well, he may be right, but I'll tell you that Zach has been tough all season, and
Hmm.
he's had some really good finishes. I believe he's leading the points now. I believe in that series. So
Yeah. That's his second time in a that's his second time at Woodhall.
yeah, yep.
No, Zach Sabaka's 1 point back.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Yeah.
geez, I knew it was close, and I thought with him winning it
Yeah,
probably.
Dylan Paddock who finished in third. He's
Yep.
got a 1 point lead over Zach Sabaka. I'm looking at their points right now.
Oh, okay.
So that is and that is a close series right there.
Uh, who else do they got up there? Is Jordan Hutton and Kyle Pierce up there too?
Jordan Hutton is third, 119 points back. Dalton Herrick is fourth, 143 points back, and Timmy Lotes is fifth,
Oh,
167 points back. Now, I don't know how they do their points. I couldn't tell you if 119 is a lot of points or not.
right.
Um, Looking at their point totals, I know your leader has 1,947. So I'm
Right,
guessing that 119 point gap isn't the hardest thing to close.
right. Yep.
But yeah, I don't know how they do that, but for the amount of points that they give out, only 1 point separating your top two, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, right. And you know that Kyle Pierce, the one that finished in the top five, he was also at the mall show, I believe, with his car this year. But he is actually from down in Spencer, and he's actually a school teacher down there. So,
Yeah, the flying school teacher.
yeah. So maybe he might have got that being this close to home. Maybe some of his students got to come out and and see him run well too. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I hope so. That is cool. And I do want to mention the top five real quick. Zach Sabaka picked up his win. What is that for him? What is just so I can? It's win number three on the season for Zach Sabaka.
Oh,
Um, Billy Van den Widgen, he finished second. Third was Dylan Paddock. Fourth, Jordan Hutton, and fifth was Kyle Pierce. So there's your top five for the 305 CRSA 305 sprint cars. Um, yeah. Then we um then we went to the late models, Southern Tier Custom Rush Crate late models. Uh, Brett Marlatt started in the pole position. Going to be tough to beat the 99 when he starts in the front row.
that's for sure.
I think I I think this did this race go green to checkered?
I believe it may have. I know Marshall O'Brien went off with a DNF. I know that they were having problems with his car overheating on Saturday night. So other than that, I think it may have.
Okay. So yeah, Brett Marlatt, he picked up win number five on the season. Steve LeBaron second, third was Ricky Laux, fourth was Wyatt White, and fifth was Marshall O'Brien. Excuse me. So like I said, it just every week it seems like they're just flip flopping Brett Marlatt and Steve LeBaron, just whichever one I guess didn't win the week before, that's forced to start farther back in the field. Really is the just seems to be the key for them anyway.
Right, absolutely.
Um, so yeah, that does it for them. Unless you got something more to add there, but that race was
Well,
pretty cut and dry.
it was, yeah.
Uh, Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks. Um, well, they had a little bit of a trouble getting going early. Um, but then Brian Butler led the first lap. He actually started in fourth, but he was able to make a good move coming down the backstretch into three and four, and he did lead that first lap, so he'd go on to lead all 20 of them. But that's a good run for Brian Butler. Usually, I don't think he'll mind me saying this. Usually, sometimes when Brian Butler gets out front, usually you never quite know what's going to happen.
Right, right, yeah. No, he did, and he looked solid. He was consistent. His laps were consistent. He looked good the whole race.
Absolutely. And that's a guy that really needed to get one back, I thought, because he was leading the race early on and it looked like he was going to walk away with it. Then he had the fan belt break on him and ended
Yep,
his night. So that was, that's tough for him. So it's good
right.
to see him back in victory lane.
Yep,
Or, well,
absolutely.
to visit victory lane, I've never, unless he won back when he raced before, you would probably know more than I would, but that's before my time. If he
Right.
won
No,
back then,
I couldn't tell you on that one. I don't really know, to be honest with
I should have asked. That's my
you.
fault. So Mike Spencer, he finished second. That's a good run for them guys. They were teammates, and for a while there, Dale Hoteling was running right there in third, so that was almost a storybook ending for them. And
Right.
but Dan Gardner was able to get by, and he moved up to third. That is actually, you know what, third and fourth. Fourth was Mick Seeley. Um, those
Yep.
that's two runs that two guys really needed.
It
Mick's,
was.
Mick's been struggling all year, and Dan has. The last 2 weeks have just been weeks from hell for him.
Yep.
So, and then Dale Risinger, he rounded out the top five. Where did you say he was from? Because it's not listed here on my race pass. Do you know?
I'm pretty sure he's from Canandaigua.
Canandaigua.
Yep. Yep.
Is
I
that
think
where
that's
he does he run
either
there weekly?
Canandaigua or Genesee. One of those two are his home tracks.
Okay.
Yeah. And then,
No.
again, did you notice that there were some outsiders that were here, on Saturday night? I think they're catching buzz on this September street stock race, and I think they're starting to see some of these guys are stepping in when they can and get some practice laps there. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll say, you know what? I should have mentioned this in the sportsman and I forgot. Dylan Morseman, he hopped behind the wheels of the 44B. That's Bradley's machine. Bradley made the move over to the street stock, or yeah, to the sportsman this week. Should have mentioned that before, and I completely forgot. So, um,
yeah,
you know, uh, just trying to get his feet under the car there a little bit. And I,
right.
you know, I know he's raced four cylinder, but I almost wonder if it's the first time behind a V8 car.
I think it may have been. Yep.
Damian Long, he was there with us. Well, he smoked a Uke tire. Well,
Yes, he did. Unfortunately.
yeah, unfortunately, he hit that thing hard, unfortunately for him. But
Yep. And
uh,
Mike Williams back there, he broke an axle.
did he?
Yep. Yep.
I think somebody broke a drive shaft.
I think that was Sherman Gage. Sherman
Okay.
Gage, who finished last, broke a drive shaft coming out to take the green. So
Okay. Somebody, did you see? So you were working in the tower. You didn't see that guy kicking that piece of exhaust down on the
no, I didn't. I
I
missed it.
tell you one thing, if you paid to come into Woodhall, that by itself was worth the price of admission. One of our uh one of our guys over there in turn four are Packer guys. I'm
Yeah.
guessing it was. I guess that's probably who it was. There was a piece of exhaust and it was hot. And it was sitting right there in the top of turn four. And
Hmm.
they were waiting for somebody with gloves. And this kid just comes down. He's kicking it down the track, kicking it down the track, kicking it down the track. Almost kicks it up and lands it in the bed of the pickup truck. Then
Mm.
he goes to kick it into the infield again, swings and a miss, lands right on his rear end, and you know, it was quite an athletic feat, but boy, was it a lot of fun to watch.
I always seem to miss the funny stuff. What
It was
the
hilarious. I give that guy all
heck?
the credit in the world because it was athletic, but boy, was it hilarious to watch.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I guess you got anything more there for the
I don't.
Adam Lubner, that's an old hobby stock guy. He was with us. Is that his first night out in a street stock?
I believe it is at Woodall. Yes. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, he's got 5 features here, so yeah, he's got a couple over at Outlaw. So
Yeah.
yep, so good to have him with us there. He's a local guy, so hopefully we'll see
Yeah,
him
he is. He
again.
doesn't. He doesn't ever race steady. He's not a steady weekly racer. He works out of town, so I believe when he's in town off from work, he jumps in the car and he takes to different tracks, just kind of plays around with it, has fun. So
Good deal. Can't blame him for that, you know.
no,
I guess if you got to miss for work, you're gonna be out of the points anyway. You can might as well just travel, hit some spots here and there, and just have
right?
fun with
Yep.
it. So yeah, I guess that does it for the street stocks. Lad Road Auto Hobby stocks. This was I don't know. The beginning of this race was an absolute mess. I'll say it. There was just piles of cautions at the beginning of this race, and but you know your driver he looked pretty good for a while there, Cody Byler.
He did.
I
Yeah.
thought he was going to make a move around Dylan Phillip, but Phillip I think he actually ended up spinning himself out. But you know I guess
Mhm.
that happens with a young kid.
Yep, he did. Yep. Went all the
Um,
way to the back and he came back up through. I mean, to finish top five after going all the way to the back. But, you know, the whole class was just, that race was just an absolute disaster. I don't know what the problem is there. Um, you know, guys spinning out, guys, running into each other. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It looked like a field full of rookies out there on Saturday night this last week. I guess I'm sure most of them won't mind me saying that because I know a lot of them were frustrated with the race. So
that was it was a tough race to watch. There's no doubt about it. I like all these guys in here. I think they're all excellent drivers, but
yeah,
whether it's just the car, and I'll say this too, those cars are hard to handle.
right. Yep, they are.
They got DOT tires, they got
Yep,
big motors, they're full size.
stock suspension.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's a tough car to get around a racetrack,
yep, it is.
especially one that's banked and has the corners that Woodhull has. And once you kind of push up the racetrack, it's not hard to get into somebody.
No, it definitely isn't. It's not. And but the thing I like about this class is it's such a big class. Everybody's in the class seems to get along great, and they have fun. You see them when they're in victory lane. There's another car stopping to get out to congratulate them, or to pick on them or something. They're all them guys are always having fun in that class,
Right.
and
And
it definitely shows.
what I really like about it too is the access to entry on it. There's not
Hmm.
racing, and I'm not saying by any means if these hobby stock guys listen, I'm not saying it's a cheap car to run.
Right.
But when you look at when you look at the rest of the racing divisions, they're definitely on the smaller side, the lower cost side. It's not much more than a four cylinder. Four cylinders might even be more, you
Right.
know,
Yep.
and it's a full size car. I know a lot of guys like that. So,
Right.
that's what I've always loved about it. I know that eventually, that's kind of how the street stock started. And then, at the end of the day, race car drivers are sometimes a race car driver's worst nightmare.
Yep.
They kind of
Absolutely.
they kind of price that out, and I think our hobby stock rules are awesome. I think it allows you to hop in a full size car and not have to do too much to them to be competitive. And
Yep.
and I really enjoy the simplicity of it, and it's one of my favorite classes just because of how easy it is to get into, and the group of guys you go up there and ask them, and they'll all help you out. So
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. The one thing I would like to say about their feature, I don't know if Brandon Conklin, I don't know if he made the phone call today or not, but I want to say this before the when we were at intermission, I believe it was, Daryl Ruggles was standing there at the pit shack with me, and so was Brandon Conklin. And Brandon Conklin made the comment that it's going to be a long night waiting for the sprint car guys all night. And Daryl Ruggles said, "Well, I don't know that we're any slower than you guys are, or we cause as many cautions." And they kind of argued back and forth. And before it was all done, they laughed and they walked away. And after watching Brandon's feature, I'm not sure if Brandon has called him yet today, but I think Brandon does need to call him and owe him an apology. So,
well, here you want to have some fun here, Terry. Hobby stock feature ran 29 minutes and 36 seconds,
yep,
and the CRSA ran 17 minutes and 31 seconds.
yeah, and they had two red flags
That's
in the
not
sprint
counting the
car.
red flags. The
Oh,
time stop
oh,
at the
okay.
red flags. But
Oh, okay, got you.
I'm not going to penalize the sprint car guys for having two red flags.
Right, right, yeah. Still, yeah. So maybe we'll have to. I'll have to shoot Brandon a text message tonight and remind him that he
Yeah.
should probably give Daryl a call and let him
Yeah.
know.
Somehow, if this gets to Daryl Ruggles, somebody tell Daryl Ruggles to get a hold of Brandon Conklin and say, "Hey, you were worried about us. Our feature was 10 minutes quicker than yours." So,
That's right. Yep, absolutely. Because if it was the other way around, Brandon would be waiting by the phone.
I,
So,
I'll say one thing: if there's one guy who's going to be able to take a joke, it'll be Brandon Conklin. So
oh,
that's
that's for sure.
I, I I
That's for
don't I don't
that's
mind picking on him a little bit.
no, definitely not. Definitely not. He'll definitely give it right back to us. So,
Right. But you know what? At the end of the day, I guess Brandon Conklin doesn't really give a crap how long it takes. He picked up his sixth feature win of the year. So
you're right. Yep.
Dylan Phillip, he came in second. Scott Brown was third. Greg Young with the announcer's drive of the night to finish in fourth, and Cody Byler in fifth. So, for whatever that's worth to Greg, finish fourth and
Yeah, I'd
um,
like to say again, Jason Warner was in sixth, and that he was running up front for the longest time. And I seen him after the race, and again, that's 2 weeks in a row that the guy is so excited at the way his car's handling. He's really getting that car figured out. He's having a lot of fun driving that car right now. He's not afraid to tell you that. Yeah, I think you're going to see him moving to the front here pretty quick. Maybe a couple top threes, two. Who knows? Maybe even see him in winner's circle.
right.
But
Um, Another one too. Now, do you know Scooter Brown very well?
yeah, I mean, not. I
So,
mean,
do you know his wife? Is his wife Rose?
no, I couldn't tell you that.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't really want to. But the fun fact about Fireball Scooter Brown this week, he showed up. He showed up at what during the sprint car race because I was helping him
Yep.
out, and
Yep.
he showed up and he said, "Hey man, I need a pit pass." I go, "What?" He goes, "I just got here. I need a pit pass. I was at Tioga. Rose was running the demolition derby." And
Yep.
you know what? I
Uh-huh.
didn't even ask him who Rose was, but I guess she got second. And he showed up during the sprint car feature and yeah, and you know what? I'll say too, good for our pit guy for making him pay and good for him for actually paying because I don't know if a lot of guys would do that. He
Right.
signed
Yep.
in earlier in the night. He had to start scratch and
Yep.
but he came. They went to the demolition derby earlier, loaded up, came over and got the car and came up to Woodhall and
He did.
had some fun. So
Yep.
that's
Absolutely.
just a fun little story that I like.
Yep. No, absolutely. It's great to see them guys, that they do that kind of stuff.
You know who else listens to this podcast?
Who's
Mike,
that?
Mike Palmer. You know where he finished?
Where'd Mike Palmer finish?
Last.
He did?
Yeah. His
Well,
uh his son finished almost 10 spots better than him.
oh my goodness. I bet Cannon told him about it on the way home too. I'll
Well,
bet
you know
you.
what, Mike, every time Mike has a good run, he makes sure to message me and say that I bring it up. So now that he had a bad one, I got to bring it up too.
There you go. Hey, I'm just happy that they listen to our show. Because
Yeah.
when you said that, you said, you know who else listens to our show? And I'm like, I'm thinking, well, I've only know of like three people. So I'm trying to figure out which one of the three, but maybe we've got more listeners out there. I don't know.
I've got the numbers. I think we got more than you think. We got more than I thought. You know,
Yeah,
I
no, I'm
never
sure.
thought we'd get that many, but there's more than I thought.
Right, right.
So yeah, so that does it for the hobby stocks. Then we could move on to the Wicked Tees Quad C. Well, as soon as I can get there, we got sprint cars in the way. There they are. Um, so this race was a lot of fun for everybody not named Wesley Hoteling, I guess.
That's right.
Um,
Yep. That's right.
so Hoteling led at the beginning of this race, and then around lap five, there's a caution. He's still able to hold off Blake Snyder, Nate Freeland. That's a fun battle for second for the race lead. Nick Brown was in there as well. Um, and then unfortunately, no, I don't think they're related. I don't think there's any possible way they can be related. But Blake Snyder was running in second. Hoteling had the lead. Blake Snyder and Hoteling get together, and then just by an act of God, they get
Yep.
together, and then Wesley Hoteling goes up in flames because he blew up a motor.
Yep.
Now, I don't think there's any way that Blake Snyder could have done anything like that intentionally. They just got together racing hard for the lead, and then it just happened at the worst possible time for the optics of the whole situation.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel bad for Wesley. That motor, he hasn't had that motor in that car very long. It's only been
No,
in there for a couple weeks. So,
and it took him a long time to get it too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's sad to see when something like that happens. It's tough. The cost of racing nowadays is getting so expensive that these guys are lucky if they can get one motor in the car and get it up and running. But then to lose the motor and have to go back and put another one in can get very difficult for these guys.
Absolutely. So, so then Blake Snyder, he inherited the lead. However, um, Blake Snyder made heavy contact with Wesley Hoteling, and we docked him one spot for that. So then Nate Freeland jumped up to the top spot, and I don't know for sure, but I would have to guess that might have cost Blake the race
Yep.
because I don't know if either one of them two cars were going to pass each other.
Right.
I could be wrong. Nate could have passed him. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
the way it looked to me is whichever car was able to sit their car up top first
Yep.
was going to win, and that's exactly what happened. Nate Freeland, he picked up his third win of the year. Blake Snyder finishing in second. Kaylee Morseman with I think her first ever podium, finishing in third.
Mm-hmm.
Downtown Nick Brown smoked the front stretch wall, coming home in fourth, and Danielle Morseman rounds out your top five. Um, you know, tough break there for Snyder and tough break there for Brown. I think they're battling for second, and
Yep.
I don't know. It's hard to see from my angle exactly what happened. It looked like maybe little contact. I'm not sure, but if it was, it wasn't enough to do much. So,
Right. Right. Yep. No, absolutely.
so there's your top five. Uh, you know, um, Jacob Stone was back with us in a four cylinder. I think Jacob
Yep.
Stone's, I don't know what his plans are. He shows up about every other week with a different classic car. So,
Right. Right.
you know,
Yeah.
more
He's
power to him.
definitely. Yep. He's definitely trying out some different classes and some different cars. And again, I think that's the second week in a row for Joe Gillespie to have a DNF too, with a car that was running so well at the beginning of the year. So
Yeah,
tough
definitely.
break for him.
Do you remember last week? I almost think this is a different car this week again.
I'm not really sure, to be honest with
Because I don't, because last weekend I remember he looked like he couldn't get out of his own way.
you.
I mean
Hmm.
that car drove around like it was sitting still pretty much. And then this week he came out and he showed a lot more speed like he had at the beginning of the year. And I just kind of wonder if that's his old car that he had this week that that he did show that speed with, and if part failure or whatever.
Right. Right. Yeah. I'm not
But
really sure on that.
then Sherman Gage, he was with us as well. So Nice to see him back. He could make the one Chloe a little bit bigger for the announcer, if he's listening, but you know,
And
you know how these drivers feel about their letters sometimes.
Sherman's a good guy. He's also brought his street stock over, and yeah, Sherman used to work over at Bradford Speedway. He was a flagger over there, and I worked with him over there. I was a photographer over there a little bit, and he was a flagger. And we used to pick and joke on each other every week. So now every time when he comes to Woodhull, I make it a point to run up and catch him and pick on him over something. So he's a good guy. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't you know what, I can't really say much about them. They're all like that. I mean, Nick Brown has a small letter, Danielle's got a small letter.
Yeah.
When they put these letters on the cars, they're just sometimes they're small. Most of the time they're small.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess that does it for the evening. Um, I don't that was all brought to you by RLB Trucking and Cold Trucking and Gravel. I don't really have much to go on about the rest of the night. Do you have anything that kind of sticks out that we didn't touch on?
I don't really. No, I don't. I mean,
Okay.
we were out of there. I believe we were out of there by 11 o'clock. So not a bad
I
night.
think it was a little after.
Was it?
I think it was around 11:30, but cuz what I remembered thinking was that it was about 11:30, but we would have been done before 11 if we didn't have a couple of red flags,
Oh, okay.
which,
Okay.
I mean,
Yep. That is what it is. But
like
you
like
know,
I
we've
like I
definitely
said
been
before.
doing great at it this year. As far sorry about that, Joe.
No, you're
But
good.
we've definitely been doing great this year about getting out of there a little bit earlier each week. So we've
Right.
been kind of pushing things right through, and it's I think the fans like it a little bit better. They can get home in a decent hour and not stuck
Absolutely.
sitting there.
Yeah, and I'm not, you know what, it was 11:30, but I'm not going to hold a couple of red flag incidents against anybody. That stuff happens. Sometimes there are delays. I know they had a pretty lengthy one at Outlaw the night before. It happens,
Yep.
I'm not going to fault a track for having red flag conditions. I'd rather have everybody get out of there safe and do it the right way than get us all out of there at a decent time. So,
Right. Yep. Yep.
and you know what, 11:30,. That's not too bad anyway.
No, not really. No.
All right, Terry. Well, I think we can go look at some points as long as I can figure out where your screen went now. I hope you
Oh,
can still see me. I lost you. There you
I
are.
could see you.
All right, that's good. My screen got all jammed up, and now I'm all haywire. I'm all
Uh
I'm all out of sorts over here.
oh.
All right, I think I got it back now, though. If we want to touch on some points going forward, I'm just going to breeze through the modifieds here. They were off this week. Um, Big turnaround for them. They raced Saturday, they raced Wednesday. And I know there's a couple of guys with some hurt motors from Wednesday night, so there's probably a few teams that were very happy that we gave them this week off. I think the sportsmen might have wished they had the week off, but
Yep.
it happens.
Right. Right.
Um,
For sure.
so, well, coming into this Saturday night, Aiden Grover, Dayton Brewer, they are tied at the top of the point standings. Carter Crooker sits third, just 1 point out, so 1 point separating your top three. You cannot get any closer. Brady Fulton fourth is 5 points back, 5 points in your top four. You're not. I said it last week. Challenge you. Challenge anybody that listens. Go find a track closer in your top four.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's something else to add to that. On the Wednesday night show, didn't if I correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Carter Quake or yeah, Carter Crooker, didn't he has some motor issues in his car? And I believe also Brady Foltz did. So our fourth and fifth guys to end in the points both suffered some severe engine issues on Wednesday night. Let's hope they get it together. I know that Brady Foltz has another car. He has backups. I don't know about Carter, but let's hope they can get them figured out. And if they do, boy, this month of August is going to be something at Woodhull Raceway in the modified division.
Yeah, I saw Carter Crooker's post on Facebook. He said he's not sure what's going to happen now. I don't know. I probably should have reached out to him before we did this, but sometimes, drivers always tend to seem to say, I don't know what this is going to mean for the rest of the year. And then
Yep,
the next week you see him back and he's got a week and a half to get it figured out. So hopefully he comes back with us because that's going to be a four or five car battle just all for the rest of the year. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Um,
absolutely. And again, if you suffer an engine issue like that, these motors are not cheap in these cars. I mean, we're talking big money for these motors, and it's got to really hurt when you lose a motor like that.
Yeah. So Russell Morseman there, he rounds out the top five, 24 points back. Just wanted to touch on that. But yeah, you said it, Carter Crooker, Brady Foltz. I think Brian Doolittle had a motor issue. I think
Yep.
Ron Cartwright had
Actually,
a motor issue.
I think uh, the 7 car, I think was a brake issue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he had problems with his brakes.
Okay. So
So
yeah, that, but I mean, I think Ron Cartwright had a motor issue. Um, well, and I think that might have been it for the motor issues, but that's what, three or four guys that are regulars that had motor issues on Wednesday. So
right, right.
they had to have been happy to have this weekend off.
Yep, for sure.
So moving along, hometown excavation crate sportsman. Well, after a six feature win this year, Kenny Peoples Jr. opens up a 31-point gap over Tim Guild. Quentin Buchanan sits third, 76 points out. 92 points out is Glenn Trowbridge. In fourth and fifth is Jacob Trowbridge, 119 points out, um, who was not with us this past weekend. He was at a
Right.
wedding. So,
Yep.
I'm running out of things to say. The next class is kind of going to be the same way. You know,
Yep.
Kenny he's got the place figured out. He's got it dialed in. It just, I don't know, and him and Tim Guild are been the class of the field for the past few years. I know Quentin's given him just about everything he's got, and you know, it's
Yep.
tough. It's tough. Quentin doesn't have nearly, and actually, you go through the top five: Clinton, Glenn Trowbridge, Jacob Trowbridge. Those three don't have the notebooks that Guild and Peoples do. And
That's right. No,
that's going to be
absolutely.
tough to come back from. Those two got top of the line equipment, and they got they know what the track's going to do. So that's tough.
I got to believe that you could take third, fourth, and fifth and put all their years of experience together. It wouldn't equal what Kenny has or even Tim. Them guys do. They got a lot of experience going around that track, and it shows. And it's tough to compete with some of that experience sometimes. Uh, money. A fast car. Great chassis. Still, you got to have that experience.
Can I tell you something funny? So I'm
Yeah.
looking at the top 10 in points right now. So
Hmm.
Quentin Buchanan, Glenn Trowbridge, Jacob Trowbridge, Braden Buchanan, Brandon Morseman, Braylon Lawson, Colton Coots, Kyle Leach. What are the odds that Kenny Peoples and Tim Guild each have more races than all of them combined?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Not, yeah.
It's probably true. Yeah.
I never really looked at that before, but that's kind of wild to think about.
Yep. It is.
All right, so we can move down to the Southern Tier Customs Rush Crate late models, a little bit closer, but Brett Marlatt was able to move his lead back up to 25 points over Steve LeBaron. Marshall O'Brien in third at 67 points, Ricky Laux in fourth, 80 points, and Joe Layfield in fifth, 111 points out. So, um, you know, Steve's done just about everything he can do, but it's
Hmm.
tough to catch somebody that's winning every other week.
It is. Absolutely. Yep.
Wyatt White leader for the rookie of the year there. Um, just pointing
Yep.
that out. Yeah, I don't have much to say. Good runs for Marshall O'Brien, Ricky Laux there. They're becoming a lot more consistent than how they were when they started. So it's
You're
good to
right.
see. Then we can move on to the Lad Road Auto Hobby Stocks. Yeah, once again, Dylan Phillips doing everything, but it's just hard. Brandon Conklin, your point leader, he's got a 34-point lead over Dylan Phillip. Third is Scott Brown, 53 points back. Fourth is Joe Birdsell, 80 points back. And fifth, rookie of the year favorite is the Reese Hackett, 121 points back.
Yep.
So, you know, I that Brandon Conklin, he's just got that hobby stock figured out. I'd like to know what he's doing differently than everybody else because he's got that thing figured right out. It drives perfectly the way he wants to drive it. He can put it high, he can put it low. It's pretty incredible to watch.
Right. Yep. Absolutely is. And if you look down through them points and you get down there to seventh and eighth in points, you got Mike Palmer and Cannon Palmer. There's only 6 points difference between father and son. So maybe we could start taking some little bets with them guys on their. season-ending points.
Yeah. Well, until Mike brings me some flavored maple syrup, I'm gonna be rooting for Cannon. So
There you go. I know. Tell you, he owes me some peaches. He actually has a peach orchard also at his house.
yeah.
And last year he promised me some peaches, and he never gave them to me. And so I'm still waiting this year. They should be coming.
Do you know where he lives?
Not
We
exactly. I
could go
don't know.
find him. We could go get his peaches.
I bet we could. I bet we could find him. I'm sure he's not hard to find.
No, no, but he might come out with a shotgun.
Right, right. I
Uh,
may have to do that if you don't give me the peaches this year. I might have to go and cut one of his peach trees down just to show him that I mean business.
but I'll say one thing too about the second place car, Dylan Phillip. I I absolutely love that Woodhall for the area. We can say we're the only track with a Dave Machuga chassis and on the racetrack on
Yep,
dirt. I think the only other one races at Chemung. So
right.
Dylan Phillips got the only Machuga chassis you'll see on dirt, and I just think that's awesome. That's so
Yep.
cool. So then we can move on to the Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks. Teddy Morrisman currently holds a 12-point lead over Dan Gardner. Dale Hoteling, Rookie of the Year favorite, 29 points back in third. Fourth is Mick Seeley, 45 points back. And fifth is Mike Williams, 63 points back. Um, you know, Dan Gardner's really going to have to get it going. He had 2 weeks where he could just not have 2 weeks. He had miserable luck 2 weeks in a row, and I think Teddy won and came in second. And
Yep.
that's
Yep.
and there was only I think there was what 3 points separating them before that. So,
Right.
and Dan's gonna give it all he's got. So,
Oh, for sure. Yep. There's no doubt there.
and I don't know, I forgot to mention this about the intermission too, but did you see who the flagger was this week?
No, I didn't.
Dan's granddaughter.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
we put
cool.
her up on the flag stand. She got to throw the green flag for her grandpa's race. So that's pretty sweet.
It is. It is. Absolutely. That's a
Uh,
memory that'll last a lifetime right there.
yeah, right. That's just something that's cool. That's one of those things that I'll say that's your Woodhall, as far as I know, the only place where you're going to be able to do that.
Yep.
Um, Obviously, we can't put you up there for the modifieds, probably not the
Hmm.
sportsman, but you know, that's probably the only place you're going to be able to get up there. It's a cool
Yep.
view. It's pretty awesome. I urge
Yep.
anybody that's at Woodhall to sign up with Gene and do it. You don't have to be a kid. Anybody can do it. Um, Kevin Johnson, he did it. His son-in-law races a modified. He did it a few weeks ago. Um,
Yep.
Anybody can do it, and I urge anybody to try it because that's an experience like no other. You're not gonna regret it. It's a cool thing to do.
Yes.
All right, so then we're gonna go to the Wicked T Warriors. Blake Snyder is in your point leader. He has a 38-point lead over Nate
Not
Freeland.
not going to the Warriors. We're going to the Quad C's.
Yeah.
You
And
said
then
we
we're
were doing the Warriors points, but
oh,
we're not. We're doing the Quad C's. But sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to confuse you there or screw you
all right. So for the Wicked T's Warriors, Bella Morseman and Kate. No,
up.
for the for the Wicked T's Quad C, Blake Snyder, he has a well, you know what? I blame Chris. You know what? If we want to get into this, I blame Chris for I'm gonna start calling one the Wicked T's Quad C and the other one like the Big Jim's Warriors.
There you go.
So for the Quad C's, Blake Snyder, after Saturday night, 38-point lead over Nate Freeland, 47-point lead over Wesley Hoteling in third. Fourth is Danielle Morseman, 103 points back, and 108 points back is Joe Gillespie in fifth. Um, I think last week it was 40, so I guess Nate's chomping away at that, but he's got a long way to go if he wants to catch Blake
Yeah.
Snyder. Either
Yes.
that or he's going to need the 18 to have some bad luck.
Right. Yep. That's for sure.
Because I think Nate could go out and win almost every week, and I just don't know if you're going to get the finishes far enough back for Blake that you're going to be able to catch him without some bad luck. That car,
Right.
that car's just been a rail all year. That's
Yep.
Wesley Hotel. Yeah, he's in third. I'm sure he's kind of scratching his head right now. He just got that brand new motor, thought his year was going to turn around, and then that thing goes up in smoke.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I think right now it's going to be tough for somebody to knock off Blake Snyder, but I'd have to imagine crazier things have happened. You never know.
right. I was kind of waiting this week to see if Wesley posted any pictures of his motor because I can tell you they found a ton of parts, motor parts on the track. So that thing must have really grenaded.
Yeah, what Corky pick up? Connecting rod, is that?
I I'm not sure if I'm not exactly sure what it
Yeah.
was. To be honest with you.
Well, that's just what I thought somebody said. I don't know nothing about motors anyway. Those
Yeah, no,
those
me neither.
motors are too big for my liking. I got an old 302, so that's
Yeah.
that's more my speed with a carburetor. So, um, now we can move up. Wicked T Warriors. Um, Bella Morseman and Caden Thomas, they're now tied for the top spot. Courtney Thomas, she uh dropped back 29 points out in third. Um, I don't know. These two are going to battle all year. I don't even know how many point shows we got left here before we're going to wrap this thing up.
I don't even know. Let's see here. One, two, three. Looks like four more shows, and they're gonna miss one, so it must be three more shows for them.
Yeah, three more shows.
Yep.
Three more shows for the Warriors. Um, wow, yeah. Well, the one good thing is I'll say that they're not going to tie.
Right.
With four shows left, you might have worried. What happens in that case? Do we go to wins?
Yeah, I believe so. That's how it goes. Yep.
I'm looking. Some of these points are really tight, between them and
Yeah.
the modifieds, they're close points battles.
Yep.
All right. Well, and I do want to just give the quick IMCA's here. Jacob Ingham is in first, second, 3 points back is Keith Lamphere. Third is Jacob McConnell. He's 4 points back. Tyler Belcher in fourth, 13 points back, and Jay McConnell is in fifth, 14 points back. I don't know how many people listen to the Jake Maynard episode here, but if you haven't, I urge you to go back and do so. A lot of insight in the IMCA's. One of those things being that their points are 1 point. The winner gets, I think it's 40, and everybody else gets 1 point less. Second gets 39, 38, 37, and that really makes it tough to really open up a gap on the rest of the field.
Right. It does. Yep.
You know, that should be a lot of fun to watch. I think they only got
Right.
two races left,
Yep.
including this coming weekend.
Right.
So yeah, that'll do it for that. That's your points coming into or after this past weekend. Now we can move ahead into the schedule here. I'm looking at the schedule. Nope, that's the wrong schedule. Sorry, I got two of them here. Now I got the right schedule. This coming night on your calendars, if you got one, it does say Classics on Dirt. That is not the case. Classics on Dirt not on this weekend. But the modifieds are back, the IMCA's are back, and the rest of the weekly divisions are back, except for the four cylinders. So Quad C's Warriors, you guys are done for the or are off for the night. Um, I'm trying to see if my dog will make an appearance, but I can't get her with the logo. But so the four cylinders, they're off this weekend. That should be a great show. Like I said, Modified's back in action. She's climbing right up on me. There she is.
There you go.
There she is. There's my dog. If anybody wanted to see her, come on, get down, 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 down. Um, so yeah, if you're listening to the audio version, go hop on over to YouTube. You can see my beautiful dog, beautiful German short-haired pointer. She's got so much energy that she could run laps around the racetrack. So yeah, that's this coming weekend. August 16th, and then August 23rd. Backpack giveaway night. That is just a complete show, regular show, nothing special. Have all the weekly classes, and we're gonna go and we're gonna give away a bunch of backpacks to kids. You know what? Even teenagers. Teenagers need backpacks. I think Gene told me that it is gonna be 16.
16. That's
16, I think, is the
hmm
you won't leave me alone. So 16, I think, is what the cutoff for that's going to be. I don't know what age they start at, but
right. Hmm.
So yeah, that is on August 23rd, August 30th. That is when we're gonna have the classics on dirt, and we're also gonna have the Dave Klein Memorial Dash for Cash. That is gonna be $500 for the winner. That's for four cylinders, rear wheel open, or yeah, rear wheel, front wheel drive, anything you got, four cylinders. Um, I, that should be awesome. $500 for a Dash for Cash. It's a pretty good deal if you're a four-cylinder guy.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Definitely will be.
Well, and then the September 6th, that's our season championship night. That's when we're going to crown all of our champions. Um, that's just a regular show as well, nothing special there, but we probably are going to have a couple double ups of Victory Lane,
Hmm.
unless our champions win, just based
Right.
on what we used to do or what we've done in years past. And then
Yep.
I just want to touch on this before we get out of here. September 12th and 13th, the 305 New York Sprint Nationals. Mike Emhoff is heading that up. That should be a great show. Saturday or Friday night, they're going to race for regular money, and then Saturday night they're going to race for 4 grand, and that is
Yep.
big money for these 305 guys. They've done it in other places, and they've had great turnouts. If you were here this past weekend, that is a show you do not want to miss because you put big money on the line. You get some different guys in there, guys from New Jersey, guys from
Yep.
deeper into Pennsylvania. You never know. You might get a few 360 guys show up, put a 305 in. I don't know what their schedule looks like
Yep.
that weekend, but
I
that
believe we have some, and there's going to be some guys out of Canada also. So,
absolutely. That's just something
and I tell
something that
you,
you want to look for.
yeah, I tell you a little something more about that show. Is I
Yep.
received a call about an hour ago, and so on Friday night it's going to be sponsored by MSP CarQuest out of Elkland, and the Saturday night portion is going to be sponsored by Lowry Family Farms. And about an hour ago, I received a phone call from Lowry Family Farms that they want to step up and they want to do a little more for the Friday night show. So we're still working on some details for that, but I think you're going to see some exciting news coming from Lowry's on the Friday night portion of it. So, which is great. It's great to help out the racers. So,
Absolutely. And you know what? I think Kyle hopped on board this year, and I the just the stuff that he's doing, the ideas he's had are invaluable. He pretty
yep,
much had the idea for the dollar hot dog night that went over great. So you know what? The stuff he's doing at the track, I just cannot emphasize enough to go help him out. He's got a business over in Savona. They've got hot dogs, hamburger, I don't know, just about any meat
steaks.
you can imagine,
Yeah,
produce. They go help him out in Savona. And it's great quality. Um, it's just go help him out because we should help people that
yep.
help out racetracks and race teams. So
Absolutely. They just got a fresh shipment of sweet corn in, and it's $5 a dozen for the sweet corn. And I don't know if you noticed today, Joe, but you should check out his Facebook page because he actually put an ad up there for sweet corn today, and it's him wearing the ear of sweet corn in costume.
no, it's not.
So it is. You definitely want to check that out. You get a good laugh out of it. Um, I I chuckled a little bit when I seen it. And I'll tell you something else that he's doing now too. He's open 7 days a week, and on Sundays, if you buy something from his store, he gives you something. So like I was over there a couple weeks ago and bought some really great steaks, and while I was there, it was a Sunday he was giving away zucchini, so I got a free zucchini to bring home. So that's kind of cool, something different.
Right.
And
And I
and I know like when he sponsors on this Saturday night show, he's actually putting some meat packages together to give away to the winners also, along with their money. So that's kind of cool too. Something different.
That's it, and it's yeah, he does a lot, and that's all non. I think it's all non G. I don't know what it's non crap. That's what I'll call it.
It
You know,
is.
it it,
It is.
it,
It's all
it,
homegrown stuff. Um,
it's all natural. It's good meat, and
yeah,
go help him out because he's been doing a lot for us. And you know
yeah.
what? He's hopped onto at least one race team that I know of, and I
He,
think we need to
he,
help people out more like that.
yep. He sponsors two race cars actually. He
Okay,
sponsors a late model and a modified now. So,
okay,
yep.
good deal. So yeah, that takes us up until that. I do want to take. I don't know what the odds of us having a 305 sprint guy listen, but hey, why not? Um, we're working on pre-registration for that too. Uh,
Yep.
we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we can get that done, and we're working on it. So bear with us.
Yeah.
It,
I worked on it most of the day today with Marty, and I think by the end of the week we should have something done for that. So that'd be great.
that, and that's all new to us. We've never really had to worry about pre-registration, and
Right.
just bear with us if any of you guys are listening and wondering what the heck we're doing. We're learning. We're learning too. So.
Yep. That's for sure.
Um, but that should be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. Marty will be there again. And you know what? If you want an announcer, he's better than I am. So he's a lot of fun to listen to.
You should never say that, Joe. You should never say
Well, you know
that.
what? Sometimes it's good to humble yourself. So.
You're right. You're right. Absolutely.
Um, well, I guess after that we only got one more week, so then we might as well talk about that, right? I mean, I think
Yep.
after that it's the street stock race, the Woodhull 100. That's sponsored by Joe Wilcox Performance Automatics. He's done a great job. He's got that thing up to 250 to start. Uh, and I think it's 2,000 to win and 1,500 for second, 1,000 for third. I got the list here, but of course I didn't have it pulled up. If you're a street stock guy, take notice because that
Yep.
is a great payout throughout. And uh, John Stewart's already working on getting lap money too. So
Right. I believe they're paying back the top 10 positions are paying back. Hang on here just a second. Oh, so 10th place is going to bring home $400. So that's not bad for a 10th place car in a street stack. So
not at all. Do you have the full list of that going,
I
or?
do. Yep, I do. I have it right here in front of me.
I
It's
was trying to find it to read it off, and I can't seem to find the email I got with it.
Yep. Okay. So I got it right here. For first place is going to pay out 2,000. Second place is 1,500. Third place is 1,250. Fourth place is 1,000. Fifth place is $900. Sixth place is $800. Seventh place is $700. Eighth place is $600. Ninth place is five, and 10th place is 400. And then 11th on back will get $250 to take the green.
Yeah,
So that's a pretty good payout. If you're
yeah.
if you're a street stock driver anywhere in New York and you're free on that Saturday night, you best be at Woodhull.
And you know what? That's after all the points are done. You got no reason to not come. Um,
Yep,
it should be a great show, and that's not even counting your lap money. You know, you
right,
I don't know. I think they're going to pay through the top 10. I'm not exactly sure on that, so don't take my word as gospel on that. I know
right.
last year they paid rotated through the top 7. I think
Yep,
I heard this year they're going to rotate through the top 10. Um,
I do believe they are. Yep.
so you know what? They're doing a great job between Joe and
And
John.
it and honestly, that could be another couple $100 each. So if
Exactly.
you're you could be leaving with 10th place with $600 maybe. So yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, what we have? I mean, we had a huge car count last year onto it.
33, I believe.
33, and it's been growing. It's been growing the last couple of years. It's been growing. So yeah, definitely. That's one to mark on your calendars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That should be a good show. And I actually, you know what? I forgot. Powder Puff for the hobby stocks are also going to be on September 13th with the 305. So
Oh
uh,
yes, that's
that should
right.
be a lot of fun. Ladies, make sure you go talk to your hobby stock guys. Get a car for that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yep, I've heard some of them already, and I think that probably in the next couple of weeks, I bet you'll see some out for after the races are over, out practicing with them. I wouldn't be surprised. That's usually how it goes. But
Right. So yeah, and then we'll end out the season September 27th, season finale, 2,500 for the Crate Sportsman. IMCA are back with us for their final trip. 600cc modifieds with us once again, and then what is that? 600 to win quad C. Is that
yep,
so? You know what? That'll take us through the rest of the season. Kind of I don't know, kind of depressing. We only got about a month left. I mean,
all them rainouts at the beginning of the year
I
really put a damper on
I
us.
know it kind of seemed to really fly right through, but
Yep,
it is what it is, I guess. Can't do anything about Nature.
that's right. Before you know it, we'll be talking about the 2026 mall show. So.
I know it. Um, well, Terry, I think I'm about ready. You got anything else to fly
Nope.
out before we get out of here, or anything that you think I missed, or?
I don't. I think we're good to go. I think we did a great job. I think it was a fantastic Saturday night. It was a beautiful night out, and there was some good racing in there.
Yeah,
So
my dog's ready for me to take her outside, but she is.
I think you need to feed her, Joe, is what I'm thinking.
No, she just ate. Well, actually, she might want to eat. She's a good
See?
dog, though.
Have
She's
you
good.
fed her yet this week? Because she's not acting like you have.
Fed her this morning. Fed her this morning. Truthfully, the only reason why I even had her in here was because I thought she'd like the air conditioning because it's been so hot. So I
Right?
thought she might want to lay down in here in the air conditioning, but I guess I was wrong.
There you go.
I guess that's what I get for thinking a German short-haired pointer wants to lay down.
That's right. Now she wants to play ball.
That's right. All right. Come on. All right, give me a second. Lay down. 1 second. Um, well, Terry, I guess I can let you go then. Once again, I do want to thank ROB Trucking and Coal Trucking and Gravel. Give a shout out to D&L Disposal. They're the premier waste management company in the Woodhull area. They do our driver interview portion. We skipped that last week, so I want to give them a shout out here on the regular podcast. Um, and I do want to remind everybody, please like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Like us on Facebook at Woodhall Raceway, Woodhall Raceway 64 on TikTok. And Terry, I guess until next week, you have
Joe,
yourself a good night.
let me ask you a question, Joe. Is it a secret who the driver is this week that you have on Wednesday night?
I hope not, because I told you that last week.
Uh-oh, I can't remember. Could you remind me again?
Brian Doolittle.
Brian Doolittle. That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it should
right.
be a good one. He's got a fun story. I know I talked to him before and we put it on the YouTube, but that was, back when our audio guy wasn't very good and.
Right. We fired him from audio. He no longer does that anymore.
You're right. Yeah.
I think I seen him. I think he's a greeter at Walmart now. I think I seen him there a couple weeks ago. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I heard his business went under and everything, so.
well, I hope not.
Well, he can't be mad at me because I'm giving him some business, so.
That's right. Yep. There you go.
I don't need much vinyl, but. All right,
Got to make
Terry.
them derby cars look good.
Well, yeah. Well, did you see this one? This one went off the trailer. It looked the exact same as when I loaded it on.
I know. That's what you said.
Yeah,
Jeez.
unfortunate, but you know what? Like my dad says, you're dealing with junk to start with, so
All
um,
right. There
sometimes
you
that's
go.
how it goes.
That's right. Absolutely. Yep.
All right, Terry. Well, you have yourself a good night.
All righty, sir. You do the same. We'll talk to you soon.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.